black thing. I don't know, black person. Before I start talking about anything and opening my mouth, it would be wise of me to at least give ground to what it is I'm going to speak about. See, this woman right here is, well, for the most part, black skin. When you look at her hair, I could assume her hair is dyed for the reasons of vanity, or I could assume her hair grows this color. This woman is very dark skinned, very straight hair. No one in my family directly related to me looks like this at all. So when I speak on what I'm speaking on, if what I'm saying doesn't pertain to you, it may be because you don't look a certain way. It may be because you weren't raised in a certain region. It may be because you don't have the the hindrance of circumstance. However, be it as it may, this is just one of many so-called black women that are, um, I don't know, I guess black. I'm just going to keep going through pictures and cycling through. And as I get through more of the pictures, I'm going to just speak on things that are true to my heart, true to my soul, because I can't tell you what another person thinks. Um, Stats, so called facts, the numbers only pertain to certain people in certain circumstances. If they don't pertain to you or another person, then it's not talking about you. Therefore, it's irrelevant. It's only relevant when you're bringing up those situations. This is another person that people would call black. Her hair loose. Her skin darker, but not dark. What some would call a light skin in this region of the world. And um, but still, they would call her black. And once again, I have to distinguish certain things of these looks of these people. Um, it's not that she isn't black or that she won't get treated like she's lesser than. Let's not think that the person that I showed first would not get treated like they are lesser than. It's just a person who looks like this, one moment, and then a person who looks like this, one moment. Give me half a second, please, to pull up an appropriate picture of someone who is a liken to our people. And then someone who's like this, a sister like this, right? With truly coarse hair, woolly hair, looks like it needs a little oil, but outside of that, very beautiful in her face, attractive person or whatever. But yeah, look at her hair. This is hair like mine. When my hair is all wild or whatever, her hair is picked out, so it's different. And she's been growing it for a long time, as you can see. It's very full in volume, you know. But once again, this is more like the hair texture, more of the face structure, facial symmetry. All of it is more like what I look like as a person than what the other two people I just showed. So when I'm speaking on the black woman, to use this sister as the example, let me go ahead and give you just a little so you can see her. This sister is like a our example, we'll say. So when I'm talking about sisters, you can use a dark skinned sister with this kind of hair texture. When I'm gonna have pictures of all these kind of people, you can think of somebody who's a little darker than her. She's a light skinned to people, but there's people who are obviously darker than her who look similar to her, pretty just like her. people a little bit darker, and there are sometimes people a little bit lighter than her. However, the the rant that I'm going to go into is about the nature of these kinds of people. So as I go from picture to picture, I'm just doing what it is that I do. I'm not really looking in, comments right now. I'm I'm doing me, so that way I can actually explain myself. Uh, the vindication to this is that I was speaking in Sunday's live stream, and Tammy Bowser said an hour and 17 minutes in, I had brought up the black woman, and then I had veered off course because I was taken off course by another line of thought. And um, I want you to look at this woman's hair real quick. This is my point right here. Look at her hair. It's not as coarse. You can just tell. You can just tell that it's not as coarse. It's not as thick. See what I'm saying? But she's black. It's coarse, but it's just not as coarse. And you can just look at it and just tell by the level of volume, the sheer volume of it. So these are the small things to really, you really got to appreciate, you know, that it's a person who I don't believe is no, they're not my people, but I can't just go out and say that, oh yeah, truly this person really is my people. I'm going to show you a picture of a person who obviously is in the category of someone that I would call questionable. I've seen Nia Long in many movies. You look at her hair, you can tell that it's not the same texture. It grows like this naturally for the most part. She might put the straightener on it to make it all the way straight because it might be a little curly, but her hair grows loose like this for the most part. That's just how it goes. And people don't want to hear that. But now that I've discerned enough of these differences, let's go ahead and talk about what these black women do and how they are, the character. So, problems that I see with black women, just like the good things that I see with black women, is it comes from attitude and not having the proper attitude, you see, is what's going to lead most of what I call sisters or black chicks uh, to a path of destruction. See, my mind has told me that black women who have thick, coarse hair want to have hair like this. And that before they ever saw a white woman, I'm going to leave this picture here for a minute. And before they ever saw a white woman, they were jealous of a woman like this because when she was brought here with the black man, then the black man was forced to commingle, as she was forced to commingle with men who have straight hair like this, right? Which gives rise to why black men do some of this. They do very similar vain things. But this isn't about black men. This is about black women. And her hair is straight, right? But her facial symmetry is very similar to that of a black person that you know. So the fact that she has straight hair, right, and she looks very similar to you, it's not hard to be attracted to her. In fact, if you didn't know any better and a person told you that you were the same, you'd believe it. So because there are these types of things, there is no way of a person being able to truly discern what is or what isn't. At this level, there's a a misunderstanding. At this level, there's a feeling of hatred. Um, a person really can't explain what they're feeling to another person. That's really hard to tell. And it's hard to say how a black woman would have felt for black slaves to have been forcibly commingled with other black looking women who had features that they did not have naturally. So before people say that a black woman is competing with the white woman, I would bold strongly her strongest competition is a black woman actually with straighter or more straight hair than hers. That's what she thinks in her mind from conditioning. Um, the edifice that I could actually fall back on is if you look at the movie Django, his wife character is the woman, Kerry Washington. And she is a person that has more straight hair than I. And let me get to this little spot so I can try to see what's going on here. Hold on. They're not. So, how you doing, Adrian Smith? Now that I'm there, I'll go back and forth, kind of, sort of, but really, look at this young lady. And it's amazing because this is where the jealousy and the hatred comes from. I can't stress this stuff enough. That when you have a person that you don't like or you have someone that you hate around you, you're going to do things that you wouldn't normally do. You see what I'm saying? When you have someone around you that you wouldn't normally compete with, you're going to do things that you wouldn't normally do to compete for those affections that it is that you think that you naturally should have, and I totally understand the gesture. While saying that, I can also see the inability of a black slave man to contemplate not procreating after he sees one slave get killed for trying to hold on to what may be old land virtues, which are I'm only going to be with women of my ilk, and maybe that costs somebody their life, and maybe everybody's like, you know what, it's not worth getting killed over. So I couldn't tell you what happened to force the mindset to be different. But this is just one person, one young lady who is an easy example of why people feel so much hatred, and then while using this, while using her, let's say, for the sake of argument, a guy says, I'm only going to date chicks with straight hair. Well, what is a black woman going to do who, once again, looks like, let's say this, and I'm going to go back to another sister who has different kind of hair, and then I'm going to go right back to this young lady. And it's just one of these things where people have to really understand and appreciate. Look at her hair. Not as long as the other sister, so her volume doesn't look as full, but it's thick, all that. You see what I'm saying? And let me go ahead and give her a little shine. Very beautiful sister. You see what I'm saying? These are just little things that I point out, but she may feel the need to straighten her hair by any means necessary so that way she can look like, and let me, pull her back up again. This young lady, right? That's the thing about it. That's where we're at. So when you have people who are going back and forth between their jealousy, maybe, or their, I don't know, is that a woman allowing a man to rule over her? I don't know. Like I couldn't say what part of it is, because if black women truly wished to be with other men, they could. It's not inconceivable that they could. So the fact that you have a woman who looks, let's say, once again, like this, being the issue, and you disregard any white person or any Hispanic or any whatever, and you call her black, right? This is where, in my mind, there's a fall off. And I didn't just come to this, 20 years ago or something. I haven't been like this my whole life. No, 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 no. But I've worked my way into this. Um, they can say whatever. People can say whatever. They can feel however. But your feelings aren't vindicated if on any level I'm correct. Because what I'm saying is that a person who looked like this who is not your people, thank you very much, by the way, is the cause of a major fall offs before you ever have a so-called civil rights. We're talking hundreds of years ago. Okay. So why would black women who got released from slavery want to straighten their, why were they doing these things back then? Like, why were they trying to figure out how to get harsh chemicals or natural substances to supplement their hair so that way they could look similar? Why is that? You see what I'm saying? And these are things that people are like, oh, this is nothing. I'm like, no, this is a huge thing. This is a major thing. This is something that's like, why do black men constantly feel that they have to go and chase after jobs that are exclusively for other people to feel as if they're validated within society? It's just one of those things that I can't answer that here. And there's so many people that do it, right? That have so-called seeming success with it. There are so many black women that have, I guess, nice weaves, right? That other women admire. That who am I to say what I'm saying? There are so many women that straighten their hair with heat or with harsh chemicals, right? And the heat is almost as bad, if not as bad, as the harsh chemicals. And so therefore, what this said is this is what they do. And they want to be like these people. And then a person who looks like her. So let me go ahead and transition back to the sister that we just had it on. People who are like her, they bun their hair up, comb it up, whatever they can do, so that way they can look more like black women who I call my people, like this sister. Which is, to me, it's amazing that I'm even having this conversation. Now, back to other things. Skipping from all that, jumping onto a whole nother tandem. When I was speaking on black men and I was talking about, certain things that black men have been through, that they've done, they should fess up to and be willing to not attempt to mitigate the charge. Black women have been stalwart figures in their own right for certain efforts, but they've been the catalyst of destruction and so many others, and their unwillingness to ever hold one another accountable, but they're charged men to hold other men accountable of their actions is inconceivable. And I don't see how a group that has the influence it does, because not only do they get to influence their children at such an intimate level, but the person that helped them make the child at such an intimate level, yet they feel their power is, I don't know what, I couldn't explain it because I'm not a woman, but this is just my two eyes looking at it from what I've seen, from women. And this is not just black, I'm just talking about women in general, but when I speak on black women, it's because their inability to allow the man to even go through any form of a so-called struggle before he elevates is incredible. The fact that the woman will threaten the man to leave the man, take the child, and do all kinds of ungodly things with all kinds of of people is beyond me as a person. But the fact that they carry these things out repetitiously behind the threats, and then will lie for years and years and years and years on end, until where in which when it is exposed, it's now too late to ever come back from it. There's no window now. You can't make somebody love you. And this is what women will often tell them: hey, you can't make me love you, and I don't have to, or I don't have to be with you. So it's like the fact that you would force uh, a mirage onto a man's mind to where in which he believes something that is not true is totally despicable, crude. However, the nature of the black woman that has allowed her to be sensible in moments where the black man maybe has not been sensible, that I can only applaud the woman for. And her measure of sensibility, maybe she has called on for the violence. And maybe these men, being irrational and unreasonable in nature, have therefore taken on violence. And then maybe in her mind now, she sees and understands what it is that she has asked for. Now, this is something that I cannot say that all black women do. I'm giving the greatest part of human nature to the opposite sex. So that way, for the sake of argument, all women, I'm going to argue, who are like my people, do this on the most basic level in some way, shape, form, and fashion. And I will give them this, but I will also say that there are many of them that operate in ways that antiquate their sensibilities. So no matter how sensible they are in that situation, it's like, well, she brought upon the destruction. So how is she the voice of reason if she was the one who made this to happen? She cannot be the voice of reason. At best, she has neutralized what it is that she has began. This is a forever cycle, you see. I couldn't tell you if it's the desire to truly be wise. I couldn't tell you if it's the fact that when I read the Bible that Eve is a clone and it's different. And I don't know what a person who's not authentically from the dirt would feel like. And I'm not bashing women right now, especially black women, but they come from his genetic constitution. They are alike, but they are not the same as, let's say, the first creation woman with him who was from the dirt. For whatever reason, the Most High felt that this was not reasonable going forward. So he did not keep that creation idea, purpose when he made Eve. Otherwise, she would have been made from the dirt, from the duds of the ground as well. And this is not what happened. She was formed from his body. So the fact that a piece that was from the internal and not external piece of the man's body was taken and then formulated to make what it is. I cannot say what it is that powers or drives this creature. I don't know. It has natural soul constitution because what it is created from has soul constitution. It's the idea of cloning, whether people know it or not. However, I'm not going to get into that because this is about black women. The fact that black women have been overlooked in this fashion, in my mind, which is very scientific, is egregious because it gives no rise to the difference in the nature of their mind. You think and feel and act differently for reasons that are spiritual and that cannot be seen. Until people will acknowledge this will never, ever, ever, ever be the case. I cannot stress it enough. My forever feelings about it will be that the black woman has been strong where she can be strong, and in moments of vulnerability has sometimes given over what people feel is sacred. Well, I say that there has been moments where she's felt unprotected in this environment? Yes. And there is no disagreement to that. I will not say that black men as a whole all were runaway slaves or were killed by the master on the plantation, but I would be a liar if I told you that there weren't black men that valiantly stood up for their wives and their children and laid down their lives valiantly in that same fashion. Now, whether his wife went on to laying down with the slave master and procreating and giving him babies that would go on to infect the black population, I couldn't say. But the fact that I know that there were men like that, it hurts my heart to have black women who would willingly give themselves to a people who hate them so vehemently. And to say that, oh, he gave me babies, is just like, well, the white slave owners gave black slave women babies. And the black women that I showed you who looked all kinds of different were the different kinds of black women he were giving babies to. So the fact that there is so much hatred between two people who should have some level of agreement. I'm not saying harmony, agreement, that their greater enemy is they who look opposite of them, and then more importantly than that, they who look just like them, who want to commingle with the people who are opposite of them, who want to go against what makes sense, what is righteous. I couldn't tell you or say to you if a, if a man or woman has a better mind for reaching out to the Most High. There are prophets and prophetess throughout Scripture. And the reason why the prophetess is obviously not mentioned as much is those who translated and transliterated didn't feel the need to incorporate every single prophetess, just like they didn't feel the need to incorporate every single prophet. But from what I do gather, the prophetesses who do exist, the first one that I can think of in my mind is Moses' sister, Miriam. And she's a prophetess. You know, I couldn't say what she had in her within the fact that she was a Semite from Levi. But outside of that fact, women have always had a role within the society of people and within the society of our people who we think we are. I would never say that we know we are because it would be arrogant. I think it's better. I know in my heart and soul who I am, but I think it's just better for these people who like to call us liars and fools. We think we are these Hebrew Israelite people. And in that thought, these women have held a status and a stature that has been very helpful. At times has been the difference and the catalyst as far as livelihood and existence goes. Deborah the prophetess and her story within the book of Judges is a testimony to this. I won't get too carried away with all that, but it's just the fact that I do know that Black women are not lacking spiritual in tuneness. I just know that their spiritual tuneness is not the same spiritual tuneness men operate with. And once men and women can agree on this, there is no agree to disagree. It's the agree, just like we don't love the same, which is why we are the counterbalance to each other, which is why we are helpful to each other. We should be. I should say that. I won't say that we are all the time, but we should be to one another. It is paramount that a person feel that what they're doing is worthy of at least recognition, because that's all any person can ask for is to be recognized for what they've done. So when I say what I say about Black women, it's like I can't only recognize positive things and then overlook the negatives. If I recognize the positives, I can at least acknowledge that there were negative attributions that overwhelmed these positive things, that make it hard to acknowledge that these positive things were even helpful. At best, they've helped keep afloat a community that is for sure dying, if it's not already dead. And because we have a generation of people who have taught their daughters not to be subservient to a man. No, yay, above a man, better than him. You don't need him. So because there's this mindset, there is no cooperation between the black man and the black woman. And the black woman has no need for the cooperation of the black man because she has the assistance of these systems that are so wicked that only she, by and part, as a whole, as a woman, will use it as a weapon against her man. Poor white trash have the ability to abuse their women, and the police just won't kill them outright indignantly. At least that man won't get killed. But the system has allowed for black women, once again, who don't just look like her. They look like all the kinds of black women I'm trying to express right now. You can't embody just one genus class into this argument because it's not just about one genus class. And because people like to get into their cocoons of what's comfortable and what's easy to deal with and what's easy to manage within their souls, it's just better that they do it like this. But the black woman has been a help to her people when most needed. Think of all the mothers that really brought sense to some of these people that were out there killing when they seen how broken these people were, because they thought they were a killer until they seen how broken they made someone. Oh shit, I really did that. These are the same men that you see sometimes that are homeless, broken themselves, because they have come into the realization of what it is that they've done. Some of them have tried to become better people. Some of them are the same people. Some of them are dead or locked up. But it's a cycle that they've helped, even though they've been the catalyst to so much of this destruction and violence in their own placation of their children's deeds. As opposed to scolding the child, no, they reward them. And I've seen it all too often. So without saying that she raised a alien or a demon, no, she just placated the actions of a person who had no idea that they were leading themselves up to a climax of violence, of negativity. And because this was never addressed, won't be addressed because it's not easy to address. As a single parent who doesn't want the child to hate you because there are so many devices and schemes that play into a child's mind, whereas they believe that they can live all by themselves, be all by themselves, once again. And the black woman who has no man in her home to steer the child right, to keep the child's mind at least in a better direction, because you can't force a person who is going to do wrong to do right. And the black woman has had to oversee her husbands, sons, and daughters, brothers and sisters, mothers, grandfathers, cousins, aunties, uncles, all that die. And not that the black man hasn't, but on her level of being a life bringer, the incubator that I call her, the ultimate incubator, is that she has now realized that the the feelings of indignation that you may have thought you felt, or anger or hatred that you may have thought you felt, you no longer feel. But it's too late because it won't bring back this person's child. But if you can help save someone else's baby, then maybe you'll feel better eventually. And this is why you have so many of these people in these places, these women who feel so vehemently about the way they feel because they've placated a situation. It's not to be rude to my sisters to call out what it is. It's just to say that. I don't need to veer off subject on you and to go all crazy on you. See, I know how to keep my mind. I know how to do that. I'm actually very good at that. That's why I like to talk crazy about stuff, because my mind goes a lot of different places. But for you, my sister, For you, I appreciate everything it is that you attempt to do that is positive. And the things that you do that are negative, that you have no idea that are negative, all I can do is attempt to correct those things without offending you. And for the things that you do that are wrong, when I attempt to correct you and I offend you, all I can do is leave you be because I realize that there is no correcting you because you feel that you are right. That is where I'm at in my life. I don't actively pursue black women these days. Like I talk to my sisters, but I don't like try to date them like I used to try to like I used to like really try like and then I'm like, you know what? There's no use in that. You just have to just do what you're doing and not worry about them because they have their own agenda. And I've accepted this. You see what I'm saying? And because of this, I can really just kind of stand back and just say what I'm saying because it doesn't bother me. It used to really, 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 really like really penetrate my heart and soul to see certain stuff. But like I've come to the point, you know, as a brother of mine like to say, the most high is not mine. He's not. So and this is just one of those things where I know no matter what black women do, no matter what they say, no matter how they think they feel, they're going to come to the conclusion that they're not all the way right about it. Eventually, they'll come to that conclusion. Um, they'll come to the conclusion that every brother is not a scumbag scallywag. It will come to this conclusion. It will come to the conclusion that, you know what? Some of these brothers are actually capable. They will come to this conclusion. I'm not sure when, but it's coming. I feel like that day's on the horizon. I feel like it don't got to be no 7 chicks to one man. I just feel like it just has to be where women start to feel like I can't do it without you. And men have to be willing to absorb ego, pride, and manifestation of what they believe is their personality and step up to whatever it is obstacles so that way we as a people aren't totally obliterated. God forbid. So that's just how I'm looking at the situation. You know, black women are not to be my enemy as far as, you know, my primary objective. I know that there are sisters out there who hate black men. Them I have to watch out for and I have to treat them as an enemy when they act as one because their actions can lead to my death. And I can't allow somebody who does not care about life and doesn't value their own life to be the reason why mine comes to an end. That I cannot allow. That I will not allow. I will not placate her to placate my death. You see, I know that many of us have had hard lives. I can only imagine the struggle of the black person that you are, that you've been through. As the black woman who was felt God knows how unprotected. And in their minds, I think some of you really think that you're all good, but you're not all good, baby girl, because there's people out here who care about you. There's people out here who love you. You know, there's people out here who actually want to see you do better. You know, and they don't want to see you fail. As much as I say what I say, I would really love for my sisters to just do what they're supposed to do. I don't think that there's a right way that they can come back at it. You know, I could talk about all the debauchery in these neighborhoods that men and women have committed in totality together. I could talk about the debauchery that man on man and woman on woman commit now and how they bring that together and have they act as if that's a normal relationship standard. I could speak on that. I could speak on how the black woman is a linchpin so many ways to that. And how it's normally sisters who look like this, and sometimes let me pull up a picture of the other kind of chicks who say this kind of crazy stuff, you know. And it's just always sad because they don't realize the destructive nature of their words, you know. Uh, one moment, one moment. Yeah, chicks who were like this. Once again, pretty in the face, them little loose curls, right? You can be like, oh, her hair's thick. Her hair's done up like that. No, I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. Look at those little loose strands. Her hair just curls up and coils like that. You know what I'm saying? It's thick, but she's she's some kind of black mixed with something else. You know. And people don't want to. I know people are like, ah. I'm like, no, man. I know better. I know what I'm looking at. I got two eyes. Just like the one sister that was, darker than her, uh, with the afro looking hair. You know what I'm saying? How her hair wasn't exactly as coarse. There's just, it's just, you got to really look real close because there's a lot of black people that are super duper mixed up with a lot of stuff. Everybody's a little mixed with something, but it's like there's black people who don't really have like coarse hair at all, and then some of them have that disguised coarse hair because they'll pick it out in the afro, and you really can't tell because it looks it doesn't look like yours would look in an afro picked out. It looks just way different. It's like the strands are singular. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just different. So so you have black women like this though who are the face of defending gay boys and gay girls, you know what I'm saying, will go and sleep with the white boy, the Mexican, the Asian, the Islander. You know what I'm saying? She'll sleep with an angel if she could. I saw everything on see this, and she wouldn't feel no type of way about it, you know. And and it's just it's these kind of chicks who get the who get the credential of being our representative. You know what I mean? It's normally a chick like this or a little mixed looking girl. I'm gonna pull up a couple little pictures here in a second, but and it's just how they do it. Is so deceptive. So it's like black women get too caught up in shit that ain't got nothing to do with them. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you really care about your babies, you feel me? Then I want you to go out here and talk about how black schools may be violent in their own ways. Inner city poverty, it really fuels a lot of this, but their kids aren't bringing ARs to school and full blown AK-47s and blasting the shit up and doing God knows what. You know what I'm saying? So it's like black women are fighting for the wrong fights, and then you have chicks who I identify as my people. I don't. She's kind of my people. I would say like, yeah, you're my people, sort of, mostly, but I don't know. Like, it depends on how she identifies. You feel me? Like, because I'm quick to excommunicate somebody. You are not my people if you do certain stuff. I don't give a damn how you look. A dude could look just like me, could be my doppelganger. If he's on funny style business, that dude ain't my people, man. He's not me. Choke slam that dude through the concrete to show people that he's not me. Like, so with this kind of like, people who will play the front, they'll play the face, and then, they get to win. They're winning. You know what I mean? They're winning no matter how you look at it because she doesn't lose for her to be the face. She doesn't lose for her to get juxtaposed either. You understand? It's never a L taken. It's never a L taken because once again, for black people who are really black, like niggas, you feel me? Your hair mats up. It don't do. My hair doesn't do that, man. I don't have those little coil things like that. I don't. My hair doesn't do that, and I'm not knocking nobody who's like that. I'm just letting you know where I stand on it. I've already showed you the pictures, so there's no need for anybody to get all super duper bent out of shape because you know this is what it is. Once again, these. I'm gonna show you pictures right now of some tribal people, of people who get away with getting called black today. They'll call people who look like this black. Oh my mama. And a girl who come over here who looks like this girl, right on, she'll call herself black. A chick who look like this will call herself black. A chick who looks like this will call herself black. Especially if black people like take them in, it's too much. It's too much. And people like this become the face of black movements. Where they're not even your people, dude. Their hair doesn't grow like yours. They don't think like you. They don't feel like you. Okay? I can't even say if these people have living souls in their bodies or not. And I'm not knocking them. I'm just giving you my background on how I feel about the black woman. You know what I'm saying? I give two fucks about what these pussy ass dudes want to say about they've aborted this many babies and done this and done that. And it's like, how many dudes saying that then had a chick abort a baby? It's like, man, sit your monkey ass down somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time for that kind of shit. Like, and I don't believe in abortion. So just in case you're wondering, I don't believe in that. Sister girl like this. Yeah, pretty. Got the wool. Just come back. She got some kind of chemicals. She got some kind of chemicals on it. You know what I mean? She might be a, a part something this, a part something that. That's how it goes for all of us. But her hair is just nice and long, so it's all bustled up. But she's a sister. That's a black chick. You know what I'm saying? And that's a wholesome woman, beautiful woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that the other chicks that I've showed aren't pretty people, aren't beautiful people or whatever, but I'm saying like people that I identify with look a certain type of way. They have a certain, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, like they just look differently. And I know that men's hair and women's hair don't always grow the same. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes it's not the same texture exactly. That's fine. That's cool. That's whatever. But men and women's hair, you feel me? Like if you are brother and sister, you know what I'm saying? Her hair should be coarse like your hair is coarse. It should not be not coarse, you know. And anyway, there's just too many sisters who are like this, who are like this, who want to be on the team with everybody else. And I'm not even talking about who they sleep with. I'm just talking about like what they align themselves with. They would, and the things that they align themselves with in so many ways they don't realize it like are detrimental to black men. They hurt black men almost every time, you know, because on some level, shape, and form, people want to disparage the black man, and they want to make him look bad, and they want to make him seem as if he's incapable. But the problem is that black women have to get over however they're feeling about the black man. You see what I'm saying? They have to be able to say, you know what? Okay, brother man is tripping, but he is capable. He does provide. If I do this, this, and this, his idea of being able to provide for the both of us is foreseeable in the next 2 or 3 years. If I continue to go against what he's saying and play my own hand because I think I'm smarter than him and I think I have a better idea than him, then only time can tell. But if the Most High God is not telling you to do that, baby girl, and you're doing that in your own initiative, if there's not something really pressing you, where it's like, dude, I mean, something really pressing your soul, I don't know to agree with your actions, because if it is a detriment to a brother who is not me, it's a detriment to me. Because if they hate a Middle Earth dude whose face has just as much smooth on it as this sister right here, right? Then I have no choice but to believe that these dudes would willingly, wholeheartedly, do all kinds of damage. And once again, just look at what I'm saying. Smooth face, sister. There's dudes whose faces grow very little. I mean, they grow almost no more hair than that. you know. And once again, if they're willing to attack one of those dudes, you feel me, over something that she says or does, you know, I know that you know what I'm saying, that they'll get my ass, you know. And that's right, sister. It is dead on, you know. It's a it's a it's a horrible thing that we go through, you know. It's just wickedness at its finest because it's a device to get the person to think that they're not doing anything that's wrong. When in actuality, everything they're doing is hurting their people. It's just like when the black man placates and black woman. It didn't used to be black women really selling drugs. You had a couple of queen pins back in the day, but not too many. But there's a lot more women who sell drugs now than ever. And, you know, but there's a lot more black men still who sell drugs than women. And they placate their need to sell dope to feed their families and to pay their rent and to pay their bills and to do this and to do that. And it's like, I can't placate that, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just as damaging, bro. You hurt just as much as she does. Because if what she's doing is hurtful, right? Then what you're doing on the back end of what her hurtful damage is already doing, inadvertently, your advertent damage is I can't even comprehend it. I really can't. I can't even see how we as a people come back from that. You know, and it's because there's so many sisters, you know, who are caught up in just trying to take care of their children because uh, man isn't there anymore. He's dead and gone. Whatever. There's there's just so many different little reasons that a woman is trying to take care of someone else other than herself. And it's because we have these sisters who really don't worry about themselves enough, right? When they don't have children, when they don't focus on themselves enough, and by focus on themselves, I mean actually saving their money, right? Actually being like, you know what, when I do decide that I want to get pregnant by a man, whoever that man is, I personally would prefer that a black woman only deal with black men. But there are people who feel so totally opposite different. I know they're wrong, so it doesn't matter. But there's no need to tell a person who's dead ass wrong they're dead ass wrong, who already knows they're dead ass wrong. So because of that, I don't say nothing. But a sister who has the ability to make dividends and to save dividends should be doing that so that way if she decides that she wants to get pregnant, right? So that way when dudes are like, oh, you chose this nothing ass nigga who ain't got no job, no money, he's a hood, he's a little hood banger, whatever, but she has her own ability to support this child. She's told this dude about none of these finances. He thinks he's just knocked up some old Betty from the block, but that's not how it really worked out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't tell a woman how to think. I'm just saying, like, if you don't think that you need a man, you need to have a plan, baby girl, because going out here and just doing any old thing is not gonna work. That is going to equal, you know, death and destruction on levels that you can't comprehend, and you'll be dead and gone by the time that the fullness of the consequences start to set in. And because of stuff like that, you have brothers who are so vehement, so passionate. And I don't think they should be so passionate. I think that there should be a level of serenity in some of their speech when they come about men and when they come about women. You know, I get excited all the time. I'm known for getting excited. When I talk to people over the phone or in person, I'm known for getting excited. I just have a way about wanting to address my people when I want to address them because it's important that they understand that I don't hate you. I don't hate you. There's things that you do that I hate. And if you do something that is totally abominable, then yeah, I do hate you. If you tell me right now to your face, to my face, that I would rather be with a white man than a black man, I probably would be like, I hate her. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I know that she come from a black man that looks like me, I probably hate her. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the same thing with a brother who would rather be with a white chick than be with a black chick. or be with an Asian, and whoever, whatever race they want to be with other than us. I more than likely hate them. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't hold it against them outwardly because I know in my soul, I know in my mind, and I know with all my strength, when the day comes to show mercy to them, there will be no mercy. You know what I'm saying? I have no need to show them mercy. There's no need to show them anything. You know, the mercy they were shown was the fact that I didn't cash in my chips on their ass while there were still rules. So when there are no rules, I don't care. And this is how I feel about, my sisters. You know, if they're gonna do what they're gonna do, right? If you're gonna choose up, baby. You feel me? But don't in that day of great distress, great need, or whatever you don't think is coming, when something comes and crushes onto us that we can't control, don't look to dudes that you've been playing to the left and playing to the right. You know what I'm saying? To be the ones who are gonna come there. It's just impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible for a dude who it's like all I did was reach out. All I did was so called play it patient. Okay, you want me to be your friend? I'll be your friend. Okay, you want me to jump your bones tonight? I'll jump your bones tonight. What? But none of that works. Playing all your little games don't work. So it's like, forget all that. I'd rather just not deal with you. You see what I'm saying? And just say, all right, let me just wait till there's somebody who has their mind together, who knows what it is that they're after, to come down the pipes. And I don't ever see that happening because the more and more and more and more and more the society progresses forward, you have more and more and more and more and more people who feel like their ability to gain someone outside of their own community is a greater opportunity. And when you feel like somebody who's not you is a greater opportunity than you, self hate. I don't know what kind of self hate you don't think that is, but that's self hate, baby. That's self hate, you know. And once again, because there's there's these loose leaf relationships, and people want to fall in and out of love, you know, with how they do things. They want to be mad because the sister makes more money than them. She don't really rub it in their face, but they got some kind of pride or ego issue. I've never had a problem with a chick. The environment is made so that way a woman can make hella money now. Fucking A. If she's getting paid, she's getting paid. That's what it is. So why would I, as a person who is in her sphere of influence, wanna dictate that my influence is no longer valuable, or my opinion is no longer needed? You know, it's just inconceivable that I don't want to be there and be able to show a person how to improve upon their decision making with their resources. So once again, when you have all these different little things that play into how a woman and a man interact, and then the woman ultimately in this society still, even though all states aren't so-called woman states, if a chick calls the cops on a dude and says he just beat me, and she looks any kind of roughed up, chances are dude is going to jail. And if dude tries to act like he's really not going to jail, chances are dude might get killed. And I don't care what color he is today. You see what I'm saying? And that's just a woman calling the cops on you. When a black woman calls the cops on a black man, she's almost inherently put a death warrant on it, because now the cops go there looking for a situation to escalate so that way they can kill his black ass. And while she might be thinking, I can just get me somebody else, when your soul starts to feel the weight of your decisions that you've made, you won't feel like that. And it's easy to say that now. You know, I got a video I'm going to post on my other channel about what I like to call generation hate. This generation that's after, us so-called millennials, which I am because I was born in 91. And generation hate is going to have some very interesting examples to look to, because they're already starting to come. And I say that to my cousin all the time, and I don't mean to discourage you, sisters, but I am a black man, and I love you. I'm a black man, and I see your actions. I'm a black man and I judge you. And when I say that, my observations have led me to one conclusion, that some black women's children are going to hate them with the most vehement passion when they're coming to the ages of 30, 40 years old. Uh, y'all willing that the planet is still functioning the same way it is? When dudes who are my age right now, who have kids, when my kids are like, 18, 19, like, or my son, when other people's kids are like that age, who are like young right now, like 3, 4 years old, like, y'all willing the planet is still once again functioning like that? If there has been no comeback of the Most High, you are going to have so many people who hate their mothers. You're gonna have so many fractured family relationships within the black family, more so than ever. And it's like people can't see it, but I already see it now. You're talking about more single elderly people than ever. If anybody wants to argue that there's not more single elderly people than ever, somebody tell me I'm wrong right now. And I'm waiting for it. You know, it's just the fact that there's so much to the black woman and to the black man and the relationship that a person really can't understand unless they are truly those people. Because a black woman is to be approached with a certain level of dignity and respect and class. And she does want you to show that you are forwardly interested in her, you know, not some shy weirdo type dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, um, you don't have to be flamboyant or overly outgoing, but you should be straightforward. And it's like, because there's so many brothers who just they actually don't deal with black women enough, to understand why black chicks look right through them, this, that, and the other. I know why when black women look right through me. You know what I mean? It's because I'm on some other stuff. So, but the ones who deal with me, who talk to me, is because, I come right at them like they want somebody to come right at them. Like they would appreciate a man to just be forward and direct. You don't have to, once again, you don't have to be all sexual with women. You know what I'm saying? Especially your sisters, because if they're attracted to you, they're already feeling some type of way about you. So you don't need to exert any more energy into that, other than doing what you're doing. But dudes don't get this. Sisters can't stand when dudes do too much. So once again, you have these other guys from other races, right? Who, I'm not saying that's how they deal with women, but they get to deal with black women on a whole other level, because the fear of being rejected from a certain social circle, whatever atmosphere, climate, especially as a black woman who feels like she's made it because she went to school, she's in a certain job. I want to be around these people so that way I can push myself up the ladder. Thinking in her mind she's going to meet a black man here one day. Because if I made it as a black woman, there's a black man out there who can make it here, that I can, find interest in, find common ground with. And it's like, because that doesn't always happen, or the brothers that they meet sometimes are not what they're expecting for many different reasons. From the most shallow reason that he's a dog and he just wants to just lay up with every chick, to more righteous reasons where she feels like she is not worthy of this man. And I have had women say and speak these kinds of words. So if a dude's never heard a woman say that, I can jest with him. But I've heard these words, and I'm not bragging or nothing like that on any level, but it's just the language. You know what I'm saying? Like every dude has never heard, language of, somebody thinking that you're a trophy. I understand certain things about women because I've heard certain things come out of their mouths. So, and I've paid deep attention, intimate attention to how black women treat me, especially black women. I don't care about other people because they think I'm exotic. And I don't care about nobody that thinks I'm exotic. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk to somebody, deal with somebody who thinks I'm just like them. just another person just like them, and they're willing to let my black ass know just how regular they think my black ass is whenever they think I'm out of line. And I can appreciate that. That is a lovely balancing factor right there. That is just awesome. But it doesn't come like that all the time, and it comes with all these strings attached. You know, um, she has kids, so you have to take care of all of her kids, and it's like, baby girl, like I'm good at taking care of me, and I got enough money to take care of me and maybe another person, but it's like I can't take care of you and babies and all that because you need me to. Like you feel me? Like I have to like change my whole situation now. Like now I have to move somewhere different, spend different, to and they were talking about not one child. I'm talking about multiple children. Like we're taking on the chick, and then the babies is one baby is easy, but multiple babies. Once again, this is coming from somebody who's made money, been making money, and dealing with chicks who have kids. I know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like you're putting yourself in a position to lose because the moment you can't sustain what you were sustaining, now you're not the same man she thinks you were. There's no need to be in a situation with a person like that who is going to degrade you because they honestly feel like you aren't doing what it is that you're supposed to do. But it's like I didn't bring all these lives into the world. I agreed to be with you. I agreed to do that. I understand that these children need to be reared properly and all that. But it's like, look, on some level, you have to understand, like, you know what, I'm not meant to be here, and it's always better to cash in your chips early than to lose everything late. So, and this is just what it is, you know. People can feel, however, it's a guaranteed thing. Outside of that, the other weight that comes with black women. Oh my goodness, I don't know how many of these chicks have been touched by a freaking uncle or a friend of the family or whatever, whatever, whatever. So they're jumpy, they're fidgety, they always think you're onto something, you know what I mean? Like, even though they might act like they're attracted to you, like this might be a whole ploy to see how you take the shit to be like, oh, I knew you were like all the rest of them. Like, so it's like you really don't know what kind of person you're getting when you're dealing with a real black woman. And it's like, man, so much weight comes with that. Because she might not have any kids and then come with all these psychological, physiological issues. There's a lot of pretty women that have stuff like heart murmurs or other kind of medical issues. I mean, pretty girls that you would never know have all this stuff going. You would never know. You would never know. And I'm talking about black women. So because you don't know what you're getting yourself into, you have to respect the atmosphere. But the people who set the atmosphere, made the atmosphere, are those who want black men and black women to be against each other for whatever reason. And the black woman has to ultimately choose whether or not if she wants to be in or out, because if she chooses that she's in and she's not out, then other black women that are out will be ousted and they will be kept out and they won't be allowed back in, because I know how women are, they're that irrational. It's not unreasonable, but they're that irrational. And I appreciate women when they can be that irrational for the right purposes and the right causes. Men don't always have the sense to not be rational with people. You see what I'm saying? Once again, it's okay to reason at all times, but you don't have to be rational. And people think that to reason you have to be rational. Irrational, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because once again, you have people like this who are going to tell you that they're your people. Let me show you real quick. And they get more people killed, just like this chick right here. Chicks like this, I swear, get more brothers laid the fuck out than anybody else. You know, little light skinned girls, so-called light-skinned girls with loose curly hair, because these dudes want to fight over them. And these are the same kind of chicks that black chicks who are my people want to be like. They put these harsh chemicals on their hair, curl their hair, do all this shit to try to make their hair curl like this because they think the brothers will like them more. When it's like, no, he likes you for who you are. It's just you don't act towards him the way you act towards all other man figures. You think these other man figures hold a greater position in society, but they don't. They all cower down to us. Every time they get around us, they start acting like little ass boys. The ones of them who think that they're the toughest are the guys of them who are like, oh, I've been with black chicks. It's nothing. So once again, they use you as a stepping stone to feel like they're the equal to the black man. Right on? That's the only way they really feel like they're even fucking with us, is if they can go lay down with a black chick. So if they can get to lay with a chick like this, who not even my people, right? Or a chick who looks like this, one second, who could be kind of sort of my people. One moment. That girl, not my people, I just showed you. One second. But this young lady right here could be, you know, a little bit my people. But her loose ass hair, man, it's just the pictures don't lie, man. You know what I mean? Like look, 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 look. Looks like the comb version of the one girl, only she's darker. She's pretty too. Once again, I don't think I'll pull up pictures. I don't save pictures of like unattractive people on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, and you guys can be like, there's no such thing as unattractive people. To me, there are. And I don't want to look at ugly people. I don't want to have people looking at ugly people when I'm doing stuff. So, it's not to don't think, oh, he's just super duper shallow. There's a little shallow in me. There's a little vanity in me. But, when I'm talking about my sisters, I'm talking about sisters who once again are. Wait a minute, I must have exited the picture on accident. I don't feel like looking for it, so let me pull up this young lady again. So, talking about my sisters, I'm talking about sisters like this, because they're my people. But they shouldn't want to choose to treat somebody better than me because they think that these other people have it easier in life and they want a fancy car, they want a big house. And okay, so what? So what? You want all that stuff. But your ancestors didn't get to have any of that. So what makes you think you're so worthy of it? And they worked so much harder than you and they went through so much more than you. What makes you, black woman, think that you deserve all that? And to get it, you'll leave behind me, the black man, to have it. What makes you so, once again, righteous in mind that you could make that decision against a whole community of people who in so many ways need you? Riddle me that. They need you and you're like, I want to get out of here. And people are like, black men don't need black women. It's like, how are you going to make more people who look like us with people who don't look like us? We need you, literally need you. We genetically need you to carry on what we all look like as a people. You're tripping. All your friends out there who think they're making those decisions, who think that they're winning, they're tripping. And if it's, once again, if this ain't you, it's be that duck in the water. This shit is rolling off your back. It means nothing. It means nada what I'm saying. But if anything what I've said is applied to you, then, it's time to take a small look in the mirror and say, you know what, all right, what can I do to improve upon myself? Because self-improvement is a team effort when you're with somebody. But if you refuse to believe that you are within a friendship, a cohesive unit, then we're lost. We've already lost. We have nothing, you see. And this is why I feel so strongly the way I feel, and I can express myself without getting all outrageous and calling black women whores or this, that, and the other. Because what I say to people in my home, and what I'm going to say to people addressing them, there's no need to get all outside the freaking box, because the way I talk about black men, I wouldn't address black men the way I talk about them in my home unless they were with me in my home, because I feel like certain speech is incendiary, and you should have the respect of a person's physical presence to speak to them like that. And if they're not physically there, then there's certain shit you don't say to them out of respect. Out of freaking darn respect, you don't say certain things to people when they're not there, when they're not physically able to address you and be like, hey. So I don't need to speak on the level of sexual promiscuity of the black woman that has hammered away at her legacy in this country. It has been the weakness of why she has not risen to whatever climax she thought that she could get to, because of feeling that I will do what the white woman does to advance, only you never advance. And I'm not saying that any of you have ever done this. I'm saying you figuratively as the black woman. She never advances because she's not a white woman. She's not meant to advance. She's meant to be just this, a bed wench. And now they have a way of separating men from their wives, where men who are not their husbands have one-on-one time with the woman. How fucking wicked is that? And yet women want to be in these situations where they're vulnerable to another man. And I don't understand that. And I don't understand how men agree to put their wives in these situations. This is just my opinion. Nobody has to agree with anything I'm saying. And because you have these kind of situations that take place, it'll never get better. It will never get better. Never. Because she can play bedwench at work, come home, love her husband, give him babies, and do this for 20 years. Right. And he may never suspect her because the people she's working with are old, crusty white men. Or he's like, what kind of sexual activity do these guys really have? But it's like they've been making it with your wife for the last 15 years, whenever they want. This is why sometimes she'll just be like, baby, I got to go into work hella late at night type. Weak shit. But understand, I know, because I have seen things happen in people's lives. I'm not just reaching out of nowhere. I'm using people's stories without incorporating their names. So when I say what I'm saying, I stand on something. Okay. And this is what people do. This is why it's a detriment for a black man to have his own business. So that way he can take care of his family right there at home. So that way his family is always with him at all times. He need not worry what his children are doing, what his wife is doing, if she's with him, if they're with him, because those are his responsibilities. It's not about, caging somebody up, or, okay, you want to go do something, go do that. But I don't want you places where men can address you all by themselves and you all by yourself and you be vulnerable to them. I don't want that. I don't feel that that is an applicable situation for us to be in a growing relationship. A relationship where for sure there's going to actually be progress made. Because for a person to say that I work with men only and she's the only woman, what kind of man should be comfortable with that? And black women will tell her black husband or her whatever husband at this point. Normally it's not a black guy when she has that kind of, environment, unless she's a stripper, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know why black guys date strippers and do all that kind of stuff. That, once again, nonsense. But for the sake of argument, her black husband is letting her work around all men. And he's going crazy in his head, like wondering, like, man, is she cheating on me? Is she doing this? Is she doing that? Right. And he shouldn't have to have that issue. His only concern should be, what do I need to bring my family today so that way they can be in a better position? And because he has to be worried about all these external, fabricated yet tangible issues, they're so fake. They're really not real if you don't let them exist. But if you placate the situation by saying, you know what, I want to be the only black woman at this job because it's historical to these people. right? But your woman has a banging body, pretty face. She's working around a bunch of dudes who are not black. You know what they want to do with your wife. So it's like, why would you send her into a situation where it's like one day she tells you, yeah, I slept with this guy, or I slept with everybody. They ran a train on me type shit. Like, who the fuck wants to hear that? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants to have that kind of heartbreak. So it's like for a person to be in a situation that they allow it to happen. They allow the infidelity to happen to creep into their life. And before you say something about, oh, men cheat too, or I don't use the word cheat, adultery, infidelity for that reason. Because if I use the word cheat, right on, how can you cheat? Like, how did you cheat? Like, what did you cheat? Like, what did you win by cheating? Because normally when you cheat, you win. You see what I'm saying? So I don't see unless you feel like this person is a better lover or whatever. Then once again, and then who are you to degrade your lover after you've been an infidel, man or woman? These are things that I always ponder in my mind. Like uh, these people are mad. They're mad. They are absolutely crazy, and they have no sense. You know, and because they have no sense, there's no need for them to ponder these thoughts. But it's totally saddening when you have a group of women who, once again, don't have straight hair, want to have straight hair. Um, they once again they will say that their biggest competition is a white woman, but yet it's another black woman, another black looking woman with straight hair is her biggest competition, and she knows it, and she knows it, and she knows it. This is why they get so bent out of shape when they see these black dudes with these caramel colored girls almost her color, a little bit lighter than her that I'm showing you right now, right? But their hair is like, you can tell it's like straight, but she gets to play the card of being black. Mm, it eats them up. I know it does. It eats me up when I see black chicks with white. That's when especially when I see them with a white dude. It just, I'm talking about like, I'll be like, this is some bullshit. But whenever I see a black woman, any kind of so-called black person, with anybody that's not a black person, I get sick to my stomach. I'm just like these people. You know what I'm saying? And then they want somebody to clap for them. I'm not clapping for you. That I will not do. You know, and you got too many of these suck ass poop butt dudes who once again, because they've been ungracious to women, they're once again, I've been so gracious to women. My harsh reality that I have to set on chicks sometimes comes from me being so gracious to them. These other dudes who haven't been gracious, now they want to be gracious. They want, oh, protect our sisters, but you weren't talking about that, bro, when you were trying to pimp out somebody's daughter just a few years back. Like, this was the last thing on your mind. You know, now these niggas are so-called conscious and shit, and it's like black women are gravitating to these dudes who, once again, if all else fails, they will put your ass out there on the streets and make you sell your body. And these are the kinds of dudes that these chicks are following after because, once again, he's going to sympathize with her. Not empathize, but sympathize with her. You see? And then now from that point right there, he's taken the role of a man who's capable, because he may be not capable. And when I say not capable, there's a lot of dudes who make money and don't pay bills, don't pay rent, none of that. They're just irresponsible. They go and have fun, and if she's the kind of person who likes to have fun, she'll be caught up in all that. You know what I mean? Greetings, sister. How y'all doing? Hello. But it's just sad, you know. It's just sad because you have this situation. It's a conundrum of things, but it's just mainly the fact that there's no faith in the man who's capable, because capable men normally need time for their ideas, for their plans to manifest. And most women have been conditioned for right here, right now. And because you have a right here, right now versus this plan is going to take 5 years, You don't have somebody who sees the fullness of your plan. And then you get somebody who's not a black woman, who sees the fullness of his plan, who supports his plan, and this is why this dude marries out. I'm not in any way placating him doing that. I am totally against that. I am telling you, this is what happens, sisters. Okay? So if you're ever wondering about that brother that you used to know, that you were trying to hook your sister up with, and he got with a Mexican or he got with a white girl or whatever, and you're wondering why, it's because your sister or your cousin or you, right, weren't willing to wait it out. And when you did wait it out, once again, if you were waiting it out and nothing ever happened, I'm talking about over periods of years, not like 1 or 2 years, but years, nothing happened, right? You guys are still stuck in limbo. Right. Then I'm thinking you pick somebody who was incapable. I don't think it's a level of, oh, this is a capable man and nothing's happening for him. No, because a man who's capable will go through the motions and get closer and closer and closer and closer to the end objective. So when you choose a dude who's, I don't have to call nobody a loser, but when you choose a dude who, once again, now you're calling a loser, you think ain't shit, what does that say about your decision making process? What does that say about the fact that the dude that was capable, who married out, whose kids are doing all right, his wife is doing all right because he does have a little small business, but you can kind of see not the misery, but the angst of his situation where he really wishes he was amongst his people. When he goes to the family reunions, certain people don't really commingle with him like they used to, like they would back in the day. And it's because he's married to somebody who's not the people. He got to watch certain people because they're trying to holler at his woman, and his woman might be susceptible to any kind of handsome, debonair black man or whatever talking to her, or maybe that's just her way. She's nasty like that, and he knew it, and he was talking to her for all the wrong reasons, and ended up getting her pregnant. And this happens to black men. So because this happens to black men, and once again, they're not willing to say that the woman that they gave children to was not a worthy woman of them laying down with, and this is why, I say what I say about, checking myself on the whole lust thing and all that, about, feeling some type of way about, people who don't look like me, because it's like, yo, bro, at the end of the day, dude, you have to take care of whatever you give somebody. And then if you lay down with somebody, you have to be willing to give them a child, your seed. And it's like, no, you got to get out that mentality, of whatever, because it's bullshit. And it's like, there's a lot of dudes who won't G-check their stuff like that. They're not, well, that's not their strong part. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, because people don't understand, uh, uh, how men and women are supposed to interact with each other. Chicks think that you can just talk to dudes any old kind of way. You can't talk to a man any old kind of way, because as the sister just said, a relationship is to build, spiritually and physically. You know what I mean? Yielding fruits, so to speak. That is most definitely true. With that said, you know, that progress looks different relationship to relationship. The way the Most High blesses one person is not the way that He's going to bless you. You see what I'm saying? He gave you spiritual endowment and understanding. He gave them worldly resources. He's like, I can't give it all to one person. I don't. I could. I've done that before. It doesn't work out. Sometimes people they get the big head. So if I just give them one thing, and then they're chasing the other, right? Seeking to obtain the other. By the time they get the other, they've balanced out what it is that they think it is that they need, or they know what it is that they need, and they're no longer seeking to pursue something that is not important. And they have, I don't know, come to this station, this understanding. And the black woman is most definitely capable of coming into whatever it is understanding that she's attempting to. I personally know that women, but black women in particular, uh, the ones who are really pious, who really believe and love the Most High, I know they have a special relationship with the Most High because for a person to hold, once again, and incubate within their body another body and living soul, and to give unto it the emotions of love, mercy, peace, grace, compassion, you know what I'm saying? Civility. These things, right? Being in a harmonious environment so that way the child is born in harmony. These are small things, a true child of peace. These are, but to understand these things, though, you see, and the woman nurtures this and incubates this. So to give this ability to multiple living things that can be incubated within her body in a lifetime is a very special thing, and it's a very unique thing, and it shouldn't be overlooked or antiquated to simply biology of the human body. It's a blessing. With that said, men have the ability to give off offspring of male or female and design genetics. Um, Life isn't ever going to be what people want it to be. Nobody's ever going to agree on everything. And there's a lot more to be learned than to be unlearned. Because the things that you're going to unlearn are few, but the things that you have to learn are many. And for black men and black women to really, speak to each other. But once again, for the black woman to speak to the black man on a level and a nature where she understands that he's trying. You can't speak to this man like he's not trying, because to speak to him like that is to speak to him as if he's a child who has no sense. So to speak to a man like he's a senseless child, you're asking for a senseless response. This is truth. And because there's a disconnect between the man and the woman in the level of understanding, they will always have this if one versus the other does not understand what it is that they're doing. Just like when men speak to women as if they don't know anything, well, that's what women say. But I speak to women as if they understand all things at all times that I understand until they tell me that they don't know what I'm talking about. So that way I don't have that issue, you know. But the station of speaking to a man where he is once again a senseless child is a very dangerous station, because you push somebody away from you, and it doesn't matter how long they agree to be in the facade of what they think is a relationship, because once they meet someone that doesn't treat them like this, then that's when you're gonna have these issues for sure. Because they're gonna just be like, I can just leave. I can just leave. So, and this might be a person who would never speak to them like this. It's not in their nature. They were taught opposite of whatever you were taught, or they weren't taught anything of what you were taught. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's the difference. And it just so happens to be that it's almost always a chick who's not black. Right. So that's the real holy shit thing right here, is that they chase these dudes away from the house, away from, a peaceable relationship, a livable relationship, for whatever vanities that they have in their hearts that they believe that they should have already acquired, or they should be able to obtain, or a man has promised falsely. And with that, now you have a situation where the man is seeking attention elsewhere, because he's like, I don't have to wait until this woman is good and ready to have sex with me. I can just go elsewhere and find somebody who is, what I mean, not my slave to my sexual compassions, but most definitely is not going to deprive me of that desire. And that, so when you meet with that kind of conflict, and then once again, the people who are most receptive are these people who are outside. That's the issue. I've noticed there's there's a few black chicks that are super duper pretty that talk to white boys and that date outside. But most of them, I'm not saying most of them that date outside are the chicks that are like, really large bodied, might be unattractive in the face. You know what I'm saying? When they're very attractive, I normally assume that something weird happened with, like, they got touched by their uncle or somewhere. It was some weirdo family stuff that happened, like, and it drove you from black men forever, you know. And she'll never talk about it to black men because she's afraid to being embraced by a real black man who like understands, like, you know what I mean? Because he might be like, yeah, my auntie touched me or whatever, or one of my cousins did some weirdo shit like that to me, and then they're like, oh wow, see, but they don't want to meet in the middle with the black man. You see what I'm saying? And the people that normally come from these kinds of environments are white people. You see what I'm saying? So this is why you see sisters gravitate towards the white boys. I'm trying to break the shit down so that way, if a nigga listens to this shit later, they can understand what I understand. What I've never heard these dudes really ever say. You know what I mean? Because dysfunction breeds dysfunction. You know what I'm saying? You know, and as you're saying, sister, we suffer from low self-esteem from birth. Some of us is taught of it, some of us, as you said, and that is most definitely true because all black women, some sisters are heavy set, not attractive in the face at all, hella self-esteem. I mean, hella confident. There was this girl named Kanisha Simmons when I went to school. And when I say Kanisha was one of the most confident women I've ever met, people like, someone would call her, aggressive or whatever, but Kanisha wasn't too much, you know what I mean? And, like as like a little middle schooler or high schooler, like she was dating dudes that like pretty girls were like trying to date. She had it like that, you know what I mean? And she wasn't the type of chick like who was like giving it up to all these dudes. Cause I remember dudes like breaking up with her for this reason. Like she's not even putting out. So it's just one of these things where as a black man, I know that pretty doesn't always mean confident. You understand me? And I know that a sister who's a little big, right, and might not have the looks that she wants to have doesn't mean that she's unconfident. Might mean the total opposite. You understand? Might mean that she wears her cape every day, S on her chest every day, not tripping. It just depends on who you're dealing with. But I know that there's a lot of these sisters that have been through turmoil that go and get with white boys in particular because the white boys have been through a lot of turmoil and they feel like they can identify better because they don't try to go talk and identify with a black man who can identify with the turmoil, which would make them much more comfortable as opposed to him calling you nigger, even though you just perform fellatio on him. Wow. Talking about how your family's nothing but a bunch of sorry apes and shit like that. Wow. But this is what they do. You know what I'm saying? Ask me how I know, because I know people who've been through this. You know, and it's always that. It's always that lesson that has to be learned. You know, it's always that lesson that has to be learned. The hard way. It's never it's never that the black people can learn it the easy way. It's never that the sister girl can learn it the easy way. She didn't think in her mind ever that whatever this person did to me, someone more than likely did to them. And what's even crazier is the person that did it to them might not have been a black person. What word? How does that work? Might have been a person that looks like the person that you think identifies better with you, baby girl. And that is crazy. That is madness. See what I'm saying? Love is not a lust, excuse me, is not a justification for dating outside your race. It's not a justification. It is not a reason at all either. And when you talk about how how these guys treated black women during slavery, and you will lay up with a man who, once again, 150 years ago would have been a slaver, 160 years ago would have been a slaver, and you will lay up with this man willingly. That says so much. That says so much. It says something about the black men who want white men to dote over their penises. Okay? White men, not white women, white men. Because apparently they got some kind of competition with the faggot white boys. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Because these are the kind of gay black dudes to me who will allow a white man to pay him to have sex with his wife while he watches and masturbates or something like that. These are these kind of dudes who once again they in some way, shape, or form they must come from that line of the blood of those slaves, or they just have that spirit of fornication all over them. Because there's no way you can tell me as a black man that you would want a white woman anywhere near that orifice of your body, right on anywhere near that part of your body, doing anything to you if you knew how white women used to treat black men during slavery. Get pregnant by a black slave and then claim she was raped. Sometimes they killed the baby, sometimes they didn't. They was most definitely going to kill his black ass, though. And it's just the fact that I know that black women know that all these other chicks don't mean no good for black men. But it's because there's so many black women who have meant no good for black men either, that black men don't know who to trust. You see what I'm saying? So you've put black men in a really funny position because they don't know if they can trust you or not. If black men thought that they could trust black women, there would be no question of interracial relationship. It really wouldn't exist. There would be a few people who were just, breaking outside of the thing, I'm glad you run. I'm glad you run, And it's just one of those things, sisters, where you reason things all on your own, you're grown. But this is my point though, is that there's too many sisters out there who do things that are totally against, totally not for the brother. Hatred towards the black man. And once again, they can try to say, oh, during slavery, he didn't protect us and this, that, and the other, and whatever. Well, you didn't bite off the penis of the white man, and you didn't crush his skull with a rock, that you snuck into the bedroom. You didn't do any of that stuff. So it's like, as much as you want to say about a brother, you got to really, once again, self-reflect and really take it all in and say, okay, well, that is true. Didn't do all that. I actually, didn't do all that. Still not doing all that now. The sisters don't talk to other black women who have decided to go ahead and date out and marry out, have children outside. They don't be like, you know what? I'm not talking to you. Why? Once again, they'll choose to not talk to a brother who's done that, but they won't treat a woman like that. They'll understand and sympathize with her situation. And that right there, my lady sister, is wickedness. That's wicked. That's wicked. The only reason why you're a black woman, to me, is because you for sure have a black father. It helps that you have a black mother. When you have a black mother and a black father, I know for a fact that you're black. Problem is, though, is that you have these people who believe that, oh, because I'm a woman, I incubated the baby, that the baby's black for sure. And it's like, well, the seed that came into you wasn't black, so why do you think the baby's black? Because the seed that grew up came out of that man. So that's his child. Right. So you would placate the white man's baby being in your community, but not the black man's baby being in your community. And that's the problem, is that you'll okay that for one another. And I'm not saying that anybody listening now does that, but the placation of that and okaying that by allowing them to even be around you is the problem. You see what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, when I'm talking about people who are actively married to these people, who actively encourage their little daughters and little sons to date outside, marry out, they don't believe that black people are supposed to be with black people. I'm not talking about a sister who's like that stuff happened in the past. I would love to have a black man now, but black men kind of look at me funny, kind of side eye when they see my kids. So when I find a black man who can get past that, then maybe I'll have one. Until then, I'll be alone, or I'll find love where I can find it. Whatever they have congealed in their mind, but that is not my problem because once again, not my body. You know what I mean? So when you have people like this, once again, get to this sister who look so much like you, but I question how much of you are they really? I do. I have to. I have no choice. I have no option. I'm given very little reprieve other than to come at a person like her as if she's the enemy. Because a person like her is dangerous. And you're like, how? And I'm like, you don't see how she's dangerous? Look at her. Hair all coarse, not super coarse, but thick and curly. Obviously, she has facial symmetry like a lot of black people, a lot of facial features that black people have. Obviously, she's mixed of the blood of a strong level, right? But you have a person like this who will date out, get a black man feeling some type of way, get him in trouble, or she dates out, she goes and has these, one or two kids. It's normally one kid that they have when they try to come back to the black people, sometimes two. The most I've ever seen a chick have is like three like kids of like different races of people and like try to think that a brother's gonna take care of those kids. And I'm like, only because brothers are taught to do that they do that kind of stuff, you know. And once again, if women think that their self-esteem is low, like how low is my self-esteem as a man to want to care for the child of a person, of a man that doesn't even look like me? My that says a lot about my self-esteem, you know. And people can say whatever. I've never in my life ever wanted to take care of children that weren't from a black person. Never tried to do that. So I can say what I say, and I stand on 10 toes and 2 feet on that. Just like when I bash myself for my son's mom being mixed, I don't, you feel me? Don't nobody have to go in on me. I go in on me for that. You know what I'm saying? So when I go in on levels of people who look like this young lady right here, I stand on something because she's not a good person. You know what I'm saying? Look at her. Look at her. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying her personally not a good person, but the ones who look like her, who are similar to this, right, who are out here performing fellatio and allowing these dudes to vaginal and anal penetrate them. Wow. Getting pregnant by these guys. And then they want a black man to take them back. And I don't understand it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to understand that. Like, how could a person justify that? You know what I mean? Like, how could you justify that I have to take care of you after you've allowed people from other races to dog you out? Get one of them to take care of you. Go find one of their no self-esteem having ass motherfuckers to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? But don't try to ask me as a black man who you think has damaged self-esteem. I don't. Right on. My self-esteem has been repaired if it was ever damaged. Uh, 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 I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? No black man needs that in his life. I need black validity. I need you to validate me for being a black man. I don't want to validate a white man for being able to get into your pants. If anything, if nothing else, I want you to be validated by the system of true blackness that you understand that what you did was wrong. And you wronged us as a people. And we will not allow your baby to breed with our people. Let that baby go breed with white people. See how they treat him. You see what I'm saying? Like that's that kind of stuff. But black people don't want to get there. They don't never get there. So I don't gotta worry about that. I don't gotta worry about that. I don't gotta worry about nobody doing any kind of shit like that because they don't have that kind of gumption. But it would take that level of straight up, I'm not having it. I'm not having it at all. And because black women they don't want to enforce that. It would be y'all to enforce it, and it would be enforced, and then it would be that simple. Then dudes would just bam, would just follow on like that's it. There's nothing else. When I say women enforcement, it's a verbal enforcement. Like we want you to do this, we want you to do this. Normally, dudes will do what a black chick, a black man is going to do what a black woman asks if it's within reason. Okay, you really don't want us to deal with them no more at all? All right, okay. But don't tell me give them no more fucking milk, no more chicken, no more rice and beans and eggs and sugar. Okay, don't tell me to go pick their babies up from school. Don't ask me to do none of that. You know what I'm saying? We cutting them off. And there's no, I don't have to worry about that. So, because that level of uncodedness, as some people would call it, it'll never materialize. It's just a fabrication in my mind. I can speak these words, and I know for a fact that I'm right. I don't need nobody to tell me I'm right. I know I'm right because black women have had a free reign on the heart and souls of black men for the last 50 or 60 years. While black men have been fighting and dying for this country and putting their asses on the line, they have come home to broken families time and time and time again. And they've had nothing to show for it. And these black men are the kind of black men that many people can say, well, he should have picked a better woman. Well, when people say that about a woman picking a better man right now, she's like, what do you mean I should have picked a better man? You see what I'm saying? So that level of understanding, I don't get, because if he thought he picked a good woman and she was vulnerable to somebody and birthed children to another man, and now this man has to live with that, and this is one damaged man out of thousands of damaged men, tens of thousands of damaged men, right? Who go on to have children. But these children have children. Now we're talking about in the millions now. See what I'm saying? After you're talking about, 4 generations displaced. And we're talking about we are these children. We are these people. You are the children of those children's children. You see what I'm saying? Some of y'all are just like me, those children right now. And because we're looking at it from a point of view where we see the failure of black men and black women. There was a level of inaction that black men did have. There was a lull, but that lull came from PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. And because it was never diagnosed, never spoken on as a real issue for the people who were fighting, these wars, these black women never understood that this man that you're dealing with now, he's not the same man anymore. And there were no classes for military wives as to how to treat their husbands and this, that, and the other. So they left these brothers high and dry, took the kids, went on to have kids with other people, this, that, and the other. I mean, there's just so many different crazy little stories and examples I could rattle off my head that aren't any one person's life, but they're real life. And what happened. You know what I'm saying? You know what happened. Black women mad at black men who were GIs coming home, for being with anybody but a sister, you know, and and it's just the craziest thing in the world, you know, and it's just the craziest thing that that we sit here and I don't know how to really say, like, what does a brother have to do? That's the only thing I can say. Like, what does a brother have to do for a sister who's out of her mind to be real back in? Not for me, but for a brother who's out of his mind who's getting real back in. So that way these two who were just out of their mind people have something, who they know have something in common, can build on something with each other. You see what I'm saying? Like, how do you bring them in? Because I'm looking at what y'all are saying, you know, and yes, people are programmed. And yes, people are coming back. But only 1/3 of us are going to come back altogether, all in all. And we don't know how many are going to be men, and how many are going to be women, and how many are going to be children. You know, it is crazy. It's an amazing thought, but it's crazy. And for our people, our only hope is to separate from people like this young lady right here who would go bring her children from somebody else who's not our people, at all, 0% our people. Right on. I would rather a black chick be with the Middle Earth black dude who I know is not my people, 0%, than go be with somebody who looks like us, 0%. That just that hurts way more, you know, because you have this girl who who plays, her part that she plays, right? But then we have sisters once again like this who they so badly want to be like these girls with long hair that they'll do anything. And they're already pretty, you know. Sisters like this right here are always the ones who are trying to compete with somebody. Look at her. Look at her facial symmetry. She's not ugly, her hair growing, but once again, that's the type of sister to get insecure when she sees a black woman with long hair. Even though she might be way prettier in the face than this chick, better body and everything. And her hair got her whole head messed up. Got her whole mentals messed up, I should say. Because, no pun intended. But it's just, I don't get it. Black women have got to come to some kind of understanding that you're never going to be like a chick with straight hair. Never. She never going to be like you. You are you. You are unique. You are beautiful. You are creative. You are a trendsetter. People follow you. People listen to you. People love you. They adore you. You understand? Sometimes they do the blasphemous things like worship you. I hate that shit. I'll never worship you. I will adore you and respect you as my people forever and always. Forever and always. But the wickedness that has been committed by those that are supposed to be sisters cannot be overlooked, and it can't be placated, and it can't be mitigated. I will not exonerate them of those wrongdoings. Many men have done this, and this is why many men have people who argue with them about things that are not important. I would never tell you as a sister that you're not supposed to be happy. That's not my place to tell you that you're not supposed to be happy. But you as a sister should truly seek to make amends, not just with yourself, but with the men that you've actually done like a man that you know that you can actually make something right with right now. More than likely your husband, more than likely your boyfriend, or whoever your current lover is, right? Like you got to make amends with these people, because they're trying. Whatever's not going right now, trust and believe it's not going right because they want it to not go right. It's not going right just because it's not going right. You know what I'm saying? We got too many sisters like this right here who I see, they'll see a girl with long hair, curly hair, whatever, and then she'll touch on her hair. And it just makes me so frustrated because it's just like, I wish then, because I'll see a dude with this girl, and it's like, he doesn't even know, like what to do. Like he doesn't know like certain, like there's certain things you can do. Like you can like, I won't even get carried away into this right here. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, what about you caress her hair for her and let her know that her hair is just fine. It's lovely. You know what I mean? Because you can see that it's vexing her, or you can see that it's bothering her. And it's just like, because dudes act like they don't see shit sometimes that they be seeing. They be too into other things. Once again, you can watch the environment, but if your woman is with you, you also you have to be into your woman because you have to know what's going on with her. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to know what she's thinking. You have to see what she's feeling, observe what she's observing. Not so much to be like, oh, she looking at niggas. No. Get out your fucking, once again, get out those, get out that whole mental, and get in another mental level. Okay, boom. Like, what is she seeing that I'm not seeing? What is she observing I'm not observing? Dudes don't ask the woman really what's on your mind. Like, really, how do you feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, really, really, how do you feel? How does your spirit and your soul feel? They don't ask women these kind of questions, so they don't know. So they don't know how to go about certain things. They can't take Her no response is a major response. Okay, damn, I'm gonna give her a little bit of space and time. And eventually she'll come around too. And if she never comes to, then she's going through something that only she can conquer. Whether it's something that's nefarious and she should tell you about because she's done something wrong, I have no idea. But it's just one of those things that that brothers don't always reach out and like realize with women. Like you have to see what your woman is going through so that way you can address that as it happens. You don't want it to come up on you later as something that you didn't observe, and then she can be like, "See, you're never paying attention to me," even though you was right there with her. These are the kind of things that they be talking about. And a lot of dudes don't know because once again, they don't understand the mentality of, you know, their female counterpart. Once again, pay attention to what she's saying because what she's saying to you, she cares about that. Like it means a lot, you know. And I don't know. I just have to laugh to myself because, as much as I understand, people are like, where's your chick at? And I'm like, I don't know. She's out there somewhere in the universe. It'll be all right. But as I get ready to just go ahead and pull it all in, this is how I think about black women. You know, this is the most conducive way I can say a lot of the things that I have to say without being negative, vulgar, irate, belligerent, none of that. Um, I totally love black women. Totally love y'all. Not only is my mama a black woman, but my father's mother is a black woman. How about that? You see? So I'm always going to love my people. I'm always going to want to be around my people. Um, but black women have to really come to the level of understanding that black men don't want to be around someone who is going to drive them mad with things that they have no control over. This man has no control over how much money he's going to get paid next year. Okay? This man has no control over natural disasters. This man has no control over spontaneous disasters that happen in your own lives. And because of that, you can't try to hold him accountable for the shortcomings of of just everyday life that people go through. Once again, how dare you put yourself above our ancestors, the slaves, who went through all kinds of ungodly, unmentionables, just for us to be able to live in what we think is convenience and luxury. Because that's what it's been explained to us as. It's a luxury to have these things. It's a convenience to have these things. So we live in convenience and luxury, whether or not people see it like that. However, I have been talking for a long time, been just busting my gums. Um, I really wanted y'all just to see black women while I was talking. That's why I really you ain't really seen me and I ain't really been, too active in the comments because I just, you know, I just know that it's an amazing thing and it's a blessing to be around um, people who actually can take in the message and not be bashful and not be crude about it. Um, Once again, I know I'm me. Y'all have heard me like a sailor with my mouth, but once again, I know how to temper myself for these things. I know how to speak, uh, and and it's just it's a blessing, to talk to y'all. Like I said, I've been bumping gums for a second. I'm glad that I've been able to show y'all beautiful black women, who are sisters for the most part that I showed, and then some of them weren't sisters. You know, uh, I love the fact that this has been a very positive thing. I think there was a lot of positive things that were said that needed to be said. I have much more to speak on Just in general, I really do understand things about relationships to a very fine level. You know, I understand social workings to a very fine level. I just don't always act like it, but I really do, y'all. And if you just, like you have today, just give me a moment of your time. I promise I won't waste your time, and it will be something that is worthy of the cause. Um, we've had not one troll show up. So it tells you that YouTube is watching. They just wanted to see what I was going to say. I have nothing vulgar to say about my people. Black women are right. When you talk crazy about your own people in front of other people, it diminishes whatever it is that you're going to follow up and say with. So you can be critical and you can judge your people, but you can't throw them under the bus. Once again, I love my people. I love you. Yeah, you guys are awesome, epic, and amazing. And I'll show my face before I roll on out. It has been uh, gracious, gracious, ever a blessing to have spoke to y'all. I salute you as always. I love you as always. My sisters, be good to yourselves, be good to your men, be good to your children. Honor the Most High. If you honor the Most High, you are honoring yourself, you are honoring your husband, you are honoring your household. I cannot stress that enough. I cannot harp on that enough. You are going to be the catalyst for many different things in the future because you are hope to men and you are derision to men. That said, you have a wonderful night, wonderful day tomorrow, and may the Most High keep his hedge of protection around us all. Hallelujah.